Good afternoon. We are going to start the simple interest and compound interest. First, we'll see some theory regarding the chapter. For the introduction, I have to say a few words. So, the introduction of this chapter, interest, which consists of both compound and the simple interest. Basically, this chapter forms another important topic for CAT's point of view because questions are asked from this chapter in quants also and in DI also. And before studying this chapter, one should know the one should have a clear understanding of percentages and percentage calculation. The faster you are at percentage calculations, the faster you will be in solving the questions of interest. And yeah, your addition should be nice. You should have nice addition skills. Addition skills, percentages must. So let's start with the concept of time value of money. The value of money is not constant. This is one of the principal facts on which the entire economic world is based. A rupee today will not be a rupee tomorrow, right? The value of 1 rupee is changing constantly. This is the basic need for the concept of interest. That is, if we borrowed a rupee today, we cannot repay it by just giving the same rupee tomorrow. It might have changed. The market is growing or decreasing rapidly. It depends on various factors. So, to overcome this problem, to determine this difference of what is borrowed and what is paid, the concept of interest is used. And there are only two basic types on which the interest is calculated. One is simple interest and one is compound interest. Simple interest is calculated on the basis of the basic amount borrowed for the entire period at a particular rate. That is, let's say a sum of 1000 is borrowed at 10% per annum. That is, the 10% rate, it will be constant throughout the whole period of time, and it will be only applied on that sum borrowed, on that 1000 rupees borrowed you have borrowed. So for simple interest, if we calculate this thing, let's see. For simple interest, if we calculate for the first year, what would be the interest at 1000 at 10% per annum? It will be 100 rupees. Again, in the second year also, the simple interest will be calculated on the same sum only. So that will be again 100 rupees. Third year, same 100 rupees. Fourth year, same 100 rupees. So at the end of 4 years, we'll have a total interest of 400 rupees. So we got the total interest for 400, and now let's see how the compound interest is calculated. The basic difference between simple interest and compound interest is the simple interest was being calculated on the initial sum that was there, the sum of 1000 rupees. But the compound interest will be calculated every year on the increased sum. First, our sum is 1000. For the first year, we'll get 10% on 1000 return, so we'll get 100 rupees after the end of first year, and we'll add that in our initial sum. So if we add 100 on 1000, we'll get a sum of, so I'll write the sum here and compound interest here. So the sum after 1 year will be 1100 and the compound interest will be 100 rupees. So now for the second year, it will be 10% on this 1100 rupees. So on 1100, if we get 10%, that will be 110 rupees, right? So 110 rupees, and that will be added on 1100 again. So we'll get 1210 rupees, and 110 will be the compound interest. After the third year, that 10% will be calculated on this 1210. So we'll get an interest of 121 rupees, and that 121 rupees will be added onto this. That will be 1331, and we'll get the compound interest of 121 rupees. And at the end of fourth year, we'll calculate the compound interest on this 1331 rupees. So that will be 133.1 rupees, and when we'll add it, we'll get 1464.1 rupees. So our total compound interest will be 100 plus 110 plus 121 plus 133.1. That will be 464.1 rupees. So that's how we calculate the compound interest. So we saw how the simple interest is calculated and how the compound interest is calculated. So I'm going to tell some basic terminology which you will be seeing in the questions for CAT. Some, like, these are just some terms. So the first is creditor. What is a creditor? I'll just write it. First is creditor. What is a creditor? Creditor is a person who lends money to someone, and the person who borrows that money is the debitor. Okay. The amount of money that is initially borrowed is called the capital or the principal amount. So what is capital? Capital is the amount of money you have already or you borrow it. That is capital or principal. That is this is the amount of money you start your investment with. Okay, so it is principal. PAL. Fourth will be the period for which the money is deposited or borrowed is called the time. So it's basic analogy. Time, nothing to explain. The extra money which we get after the investment of the principal amount after a certain period of time is called the total interest on that capital. So fifth term is total interest. We borrowed some money which we call capital. We are the debitor, and we borrowed it from the creditor, and now we invested that capital we borrowed, we invested that principal we borrowed into something, let's say NFT, crypto, anything, and now we are getting some interest back on the total capital amount. That will be after a certain period of time, of course. That period can be many years, some months, as much as you want. So there is no foundation on that. That is called the total interest. Then the sum of the principal and the interest at the end of any time is called amount. What is amount? Amount is just principal plus the interest. Like, let's say you have invested money for 5 years, and you are getting an in total interest of 500 rupees on a sum of 1000. So at the end of 5 years, what will be the amount? 1000 plus 500. You, I'm going to write it for you. Uh, you invested a amount of a principal of a sum of 1000 rupees for 5 years, and you got the interest of 500 rupees after 5 years. So what will be the amount? This principal plus this interest, that will be 1500. Now let's say you invested 1000 rupees for 5 years, but you are seeing that after 2 years, after you are seeing that after 2 years you are getting 200 rupees. So what will be the amount here? Amount, we can calculate the amount at any period of time, at any end of time. It does not specifically be at the end of the interest period. It can be at any time. So you have to calculate the interest at for that time for 2 years. We are not going to use the interest for 5 years here. We are going to interest of 2 years here. So 1000, and after 2 years we get an interest of 200 rupees. So the amount here will be 1200 rupees. Okay. So amount is always equals to principal plus total interest for that specific period of time. So another term is rate of interest. Rate of interest is the rate at which the interest is calculated and is always specified in percentage terms. Rate of interest, it can be compound interest, it can be any kind of interest. Rate of interest. Okay. It will always be in percentage. So now we'll see the specific difference between simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest, as it is written here, uh, yeah, the rate of interest of 1 year for every 100 is called the interest rate. The interest of 1 year for every 100 rupees is called the interest rate per annum. If we say the rate of interest per annum is R%, we mean that R rupees is the interest on a principal of 100 rupees for 1 year. Why we are assuming the principal of 100 rupees? It's just an analogy to represent that. Like, how do we calculate, uh, how do we say that this length is 1 meter? We compare it with something. We compare it with the speed of light, the amount of distance traveled by the speed of light in some seconds at some specific temperature, some specific pressure. That is the length. When light travels, that length is equal to 1 meter. So we are giving a reference. We are having the reference of speed of light for our measurement. So here also we are assuming a principal of 100 rupees for 1 year. We are fixing the sum and we are fixing the time period, and then we are saying that if there is a principal of 100 rupees for 1 year, then after an year we'll be getting the interest of r rupees if rate of interest is r%. So this is the basic formula of simple interest. Interest equals to P into R into T upon 100. Principal into time into rate of interest per annum. Make sure you are given per annum. If you are not given this in per annum, then you have to change the rate of interest accordingly, right? So amount, as I told you, amount is always principal plus interest. Interest was this. We just plug in into this formula. So we get prince amount equals to principal plus PTR upon 100. So from here we can calculate time. Time equals to total interest upon interest on the principal for 1 year into years. This is a formula, you can memorize it to calculate the time. Note, yeah, I do have a note for you, and that note says the rate of interest is normally specified in terms of annual rate of interest. That is, that rate is for 1 year. You will be getting that interest when you wait for a whole year. In such cases, we take time in years, right? However, if the rate of interest in the question is specified in terms of 6 monthly, or it is specified as half yearly, or 1.5 year, or 4 months, then we'll not take time in years, we'll take time in the bunch of 6 months. Like, because the interest is like interest, it is like it is being calculated every 6 months. So if we are investing our money for, let's say, 2 years, and the rate of interest is 5% per 6 months, not per year, it's 5% per 6 months. So we'll not be taking time in the formula as 2, right? 2 year equals to 24 months. So in 24 months, how many times we'll be calculating the interest? 24 upon 6, that will be 4 for the first 6 months, for next 6 months, for next 6 months, for next 6 months. So this will be the 4 times we'll be calculating the interest. So we'll putting t equals to 4 rather than t equals to 2. You'll get it more clearly when we'll solve the questions. So compound interest. Uh, so we are going to see what's compound interest now. There is the, I've already told you how we calculate the compound interest. We calculate the interest on the updated sum every year. So there are some basic formulas for this. Case 1, let principal be P, time be n years, and the rate is R% per annum. And let A be the total amount at the end of n years. Then amount is equals to P times 1 plus R by 100 raised to the power n. So this is the formula for amount. This isn't the interest. We can get the interest by doing amount minus principal. When the compound interest is reckoned half yearly, if the annual rate is R% per annum and it's to be calculated for n years. In this case, the rate will be R by 2% half yearly, and the time will be 2.5 years. Yeah, so rate will also get half and time will get 2 times, because in 1 year there are 2 half years. When the compound interest is reckoned quarterly, similarly in 1 year there are 4 quarter years, and rate of interest will get divided by 4 and time will be by into 4. The difference between the compound interest and the simple interest over 2 years is given by. So yeah, maybe we can just use this in some numerical directly. So now applications of interest in DI, data interpretation, not in quants, but yeah, data interpretation. The difference between simple annual growth and compound annual growth. So I'll just give this as an example of simple annual growth and compound annual growth. So we can think of it as like, imagine it like, imagine it like you are growing a plant. You plant a small money tree. It starts with 100 coins on it. Each year the number of coin increases. Now there are two ways to think about it. First, simple annual growth rate, SAGR. I add the same number every year. Let's say in the first year I got 100 coins. Then in the second year I got 120 coins. Then in the third year I got 140 coins. First year 100 coins. Second year 120 coins. Third year 140 coins. Fourth year 160 coins. So every year I'm just adding 20 coins, you see. So at the end, total how many coins do I have? 60 coins more than our initial. So we are adding 60 coins in total, and that's a growth of 60% over the original 100, and we did it for 3 years, right? For 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4. So we did it for 3 years. So for 3 years the growth is 60%. So for 1 year the growth will be 60 by 3, 20%. So this is the simple annual growth rate, SAGR. Now, second thing we can think of it is like compound annual growth rate, CAGR. Now imagine instead I still start with 100 coins, right? On the first year, I'm still having 100 coins. But now each year you grow not by adding 20 but by multiplying. Let's say each year your coin grows by 10%. In the first year, if my coin is growing by 10%, how much will I get? 110. In the second year, I have 110 coins and now they will increase by 10%. Then I'll be having 121 coins. In the third year, if I have now 121 coins and after a 10% increase, I'll be having 133.1 coins. So now every year your growth is on top of the previous year's growth. This is called compound growth. It's like, yeah, we are just compounding it. We are seeing the growth on top of the growth we are already getting. We already got. So some real life. Okay, so if we look at the graph of this, for simple annual growth, the growth is linear. But for compound annual growth, the graph is curved. It increases like this. First it increases slowly, 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 and then after a while it increases rapidly. SAGR is like saving 100 rupees in month in a piggy bank. Like this is stagnant. Every month you save 100 rupees. It does not increase. It stays 100 as long as you're saving and not taking anything out. But CAGR is like investing money, where your money grows on top of its previous growth. It's like in a bank, in gold or stock, crypto or something. So yeah, that's everything for the theory, I guess. And now we'll be starting with the level of difficulty 1. So now we are going to start with the level of difficulty 1. These are very basic questions. 1200 is lent out at 5% per annum simple interest for 3 years. Find the amount after 3 years. We can find the interest in 3 years at principal into rate into time upon 100. That will give us 15 into 12, that equals 180. So we got 180 rupees interest, and amount is equals to principal plus interest, which will be 1200 plus 180, 1380. Interest obtained on a sum of 500 for 3 years is 1500. Find the rate percent. We are given the interest now. We are given I equals to 1500 on a sum of 5000 for R percent for 3 years upon 100. We can find R from here. R will be equal to, this will get cancelled, 500 upon 50, 10%, 10%. 2100 is lent at a compound interest of 5% per annum for 2 years. Find the amount after 2 years. So here the principal is 2100, lend at a compound interest rate is 5% per annum, time is 2 years, find the amount after 2 years. So either we can use the formula or we can just do it manually also. After the first year, after getting 5% rate, what will be the interest? The interest will be 2100 into 5%, 105 rupees. So our new principal will be 2100 plus 105, 2205. And for the second year again, we'll do zero point 0.5 of that, 5% of that, that will be 110.25. Then we can just add that on 2205. So we'll get 2315.25. 164 is repaid after 2 years at compound interest. Which of the following is the value of the principal and the rate? Okay, 1694 rupees is paid after 2 years at a compound interest. So this is the final amount. We are given the final amount, we are given the time is 2 years at a compound interest, we are given which of the following is the principal and the rate. So we can just check with the options, I guess. If we try the first option for 1200, if we take 20% as the interest for the first year, we'll be getting 240. So 1200 plus 240 will give us 1440 rupees, and on 1440 again 20%, 288 rupees. So that will give us an amount of 1728. So that's not 1694. So 1200 on 20% is giving amount more than that. So we are going to look for a lesser rate, maybe option number B or option number C. Let's try option number C. For 1400 at 10%, we'll be getting 140 as the interest, and when we'll add that, we'll get 1540, and again 10%, 154 rupees. 1694, yeah, 1694. Here we are getting 1694. Find the difference between the simple and the compound interest at 5% per annum for 2 years on a principal of 2000. Okay, so this is directly that, based on that formula that I told you. The difference between the compound interest and the simple interest over 2 years is given by P R upon 100 whole square. P R upon 100 whole square. And we have to make sure that it is asked for 2 years, and yes, it is asked for 2 years. So the principal was 2000 and rate is 5% upon 100 whole square, 20. This will get cancelled. 20 more, 20 upon 4, 5. We get 5 as the answer, right? Moving on to question number 6. Find the rate of interest if the amount after 2 years of simple interest on a capital. This is okay, so this is just simple interest. Our capital value, that is our principal, is given as 1200, and if the amount after 2 years, so the amount is 1440. So what will be the interest? Interest is amount minus principal. 1440 minus 1200 equals to 240. 240, which will be equals to P into R into T upon 100, the simple formula for simple interest. So 240 into 100 equals to 1200 into R into 2. 0, 0 gets cancelled. 12 into 2 is 24. This will give us 10. So R equals to 10%. After how many years will a sum of 12,500 become 70,500 at the rate of 10% per annum? Okay. So we are not given here that it is whether it is compound interest or whether it is a simple interest. So by default we are going to consider it as simple interest. Will a sum of this become this? So for simple interest the interest will be this 17,500 minus 12,500, which is equals to 5,000, which will be equals to 12,500 into 10% per annum for me, let's say n number of years upon 100. So from here we'll get n as 5,000 into 100 divided by 12,500 divided by 10, 4. So n equals to 4 years. Yeah, 4 years. What is the difference between the simple interest on a principal of 500 being calculated at 5% per annum for 3 years? What is the difference between the simple interest on a principal of 500? Principal is given as 500 being calculated at 5% per annum. Rate is 5% per annum. Time is 3 years and another rate is 4% per annum and time is 4 years. We have to find the difference. So from here 500 into 5 into 3, that will give us 15 into 500. 15 into 500 gives us 75 rupees. Here the interest will be 75 rupees and here principal is same, 500 into 16. 5 into 16 is 80, 8,080 rupees. Here the will be 80 rupees. So the difference is 5 rupees. Difference is 5 rupees. What is the simple interest on a sum of 700? Sum is 700. If the rate of interest for the first 3 years is 8%, for the last 2 years is 7.5%. Okay, so we are given two interest, so we have to divide it. The sum will be 700 for 3 years. It is 8% per annum plus, and as it is the simple interest, so always even if the rate changes, the principal amount is gonna be the same because simple interest is always calculated on the principal amount which we start with. Yeah, so 700 into 7.5 for last 2 years. So yeah, we can just solve this. So we can get it as 7 into 8, 56 into 3, 168 plus 7 into 7.5 into 2, 105, 105 plus 168 is 273. What is the simple interest for 9 years on a sum of 800? Principal is 800. If the rate of interest for the first 4 years is 4%, for 8%, and the last 4 years is 6% per annum. So here we are given the total time period is 9 years. Total time period is 9 years and we are given first 4 years, that is first year, second year, third year and fourth year. The rate is 8%, and for the last 4 years, that is ninth year, 8th year, 7th year and 6th year, the rate is 6%. But we are not given for the 5th year what will happen For the fifth year, we don't know this information. We are not provided in the question, so our answer will be cannot be determined. Yeah. So moving on to the next question. What is the difference between the compound interest and simple interest on a sum of 20,000 over a 2-year period if the compound interest is calculated 20% and the simple interest is calculated at 23%? So here we cannot use the formula as we used here because the rates are different. If the rate was same, then we could just use that formula, but here the rate is not same, so we cannot use that formula, right? We have to find it. What is the difference between compound interest and the simple interest for the sum? Sum is same. Sum is going to be 20,000 for both. Total time is for 2 years and compound interest is calculated at 20% and simple interest is calculated at 23%. So for simple interest, interest will directly be equal to 20,000 into 23 into 2 upon 100. So that will be directly equal to 200 into 46, 9,200, 9,200. And for the compound interest for the first year, that will be 20,000 into point 0.2, 20,000 into point 0.2, that will be 4,000 rupees. And for the next year, 24,000 into 0.2, that will be 24,000, that will be 4,800. 4,800 plus 4,000, which will give us 8,800. 4,800. So yeah, the compound interest is 8,800 and simple interest is 9,200. So the answer is 400. Next question. Find the compound interest on 1,000 at a rate 20% per annum for 18 months when the interest is compounded half yearly. Half yearly, that means every 6 months. So how many times the interest will be calculated over a period of 18 months when we are compounding it every 6 months? 18 over 6, 3 times. So for the first time, that will be 1000 into 0.2, which will give us 200 rupees. 200 rupees. Next time, that will be 1200 into 0.2, 240 rupees. Next time, that will be 1440 into 0.2, that will be 288 rupees. And we want to find the total. So total we can just add it, 200 plus 240 plus 288, which gives us okay. So the okay, I did a mistake here. I did not, because the rate was given per annum, so we are compounding it half yearly, so the rate will also be half. the rate will be zero point 0.1 here, rather rate will be 10%. Rate will be 10% half yearly. So zero point 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. So this will be 100 rupees. So here will be 1100 into this, which is going to be 110. So here will be 1210 into 0.1, that is 121. So now 100 plus 110 plus 121 will give us 331 rupees. Yeah. So I'm not using any formula for compound interest, because the formula for compound interest, it it makes things just complicated, because it gives a power of n here, and it's then very complicated to solve. So rather than using the formula, just break it and then solve. But if it is given for like find the interest for 8 years or 9 years or 10 years, then obviously use the formula and use the calculator. But here we are only asked for like 18 months, 2 years, or maximum 4 years, so we can just do it mentally without using the formula. Just get the basics of it, it's already explained. Find the principal if the interest compounded at the rate of 10% per annum for 2 years is 420. We have to find the principal if the interest is compounded. It is said the interest is compounded, that is compound interest at a rate of 10% per annum for 2 years. Total time is 2 years, and the compound interest we got is 420, right? So how can we solve this without using the formula? Let's just assume that our principal was 100. If the principal is 100, for the first year, what will be the interest? 100 into zero point 0.1, 10 rupees. For the next year, 110 will be the amount, and the interest will be 11 rupees. So the total interest is 21 rupees. When our principal, when our compound interest is 21, the principal was 100 rupees. So now when our compound interest is 420, our principal will be 420 into 100 upon 21, 2000, 2000. Find the principal if the compound interest is charged on the principal at the rate of 16 2 by 3. Okay, weird. Per annum for 2 years, and the sum becomes 196. Okay, it is compound interest, and we are given the sum becomes 96, that is the amount is given to be 196. So again we'll do the same thing, we'll assume our principal will be 100. If the principal is 100, we can solve this more. 16 into 348, that is this 50 upon 3%. So for the first year, if the principal is 100 and we are getting this, we'll get 50 upon 3 into 1 upon 100, which gives us 50 upon 3. 100 plus 50 upon 3 gives us 350 upon 3 into 50 upon 3 into 1 upon 100, 0, which gives us 35 into 5, 175 upon 9. So 50 upon 3 plus 175 upon 9, when we will add that, we'll get the compound interest as 150 plus 175, which gives us 322 upon 9. 322, yeah, 322. 322 upon 9. This is the interest. So this is the total interest, but what will be the total amount? Total amount will be 100 plus 322 upon 9, which will be 900 plus 322, 1222 upon 9. So when our amount was 1222 upon 9, our principal was 100. Now when our amount is 196, what will be our principal? 196 into 100 upon 1299 to 9. So 196 into 100 to 9. It gives us 144.35. This is equals to 144.35. We can approximately say it as 144. Next question. The SBI lent 13312 to Tata Group at a compound interest and got 1728 after 3 years. So the amount is 1728, principal amount was 1331, time period is 3 years. What is the rate of interest charged if the company compounded annually? So yeah, we are given annually, so we can just use it. You can find it by let's assume our rate was, let's just assume our rate was 1%. If our rate was 1%, so for the first time 1331 into 0.01 will give us an interest of 13.31. 1331 plus 13.31 will give us 1344.31, and again 1% here, so that will give us 134.31 will give us 13.44, 1357, 13.44. So now next amount will be 1357.75 into 0.1, that will be 13.57. So our total interest is 13.31 plus 13.44 plus 13.57, 40.32. And here what is our interest? We have the principal, we have the amount. So interest is amount minus principal, 1728 minus 1371, 357 rupees. So the rate was when the interest was 40.32, the rate was 1%. When the interest is 357, the rate will be, let's say, x. So x equals to 357 upon 40.32, 8 point around 8.85%. So yeah, it's pretty approximated. So we can assume it to be 8.33. No, it is 8.85. It is close to 9.09. 8.85 is close to option number B. So option number B will be the answer. Next question. In what time will 3300 become 3399 at 6% per annum interest compounded? It is compound interest, but it is compounded half yearly. But this is given 6% per annum. So for half year, we will be getting 3% half yearly. And okay, so we can just use the formula here. 3399 equals to 3300 1 plus r upon 100 to the power n. We want to find n, but we are given r is 3 here. It was 1, right? Yeah, 1 plus r upon 100. So we can just do it like 3399 divided by, it was 3399 divided by 3300. 1.03 will give us 1.03 power n. So we can write 3 upon 100 as 0.03, and 1 plus 0.03 is 1.03. So what power of 1.03 will give us 1.03? So n will be 1. But yeah, this is we are calculating it half yearly. So this n is not yearly, because I told you, right, when we are doing it for half yearly, we will be reducing the rate with half, and this will be 2 times of n, just like this here. For half yearly, the rate is r by 2 and the time is 2n. So what do we get here? We get n equals to 1. So n will be equals to 6 months, because n equals to 1, it is only for half a year. If n was 2, then it was 2 half years, then it would be 1 whole year. But here n equals to 1, so it will be just 6 months. Next question. Ranjan purchased a Maruti for 1,96,000 and the rate of depreciation. Oh, did I teach depreciation here? Oh, I did not teach depreciation of value. Hmm. Depreciation of value is simple. The value of a machine or any other article subject to wear and tear decreases with time. This decrease is called depreciation. Thus, if V naught is the value at a certain time and R% per annum is the rate of depreciation per year, then the value V1 at the end of the year will be, it is just like compound interest only. The value will just decrease compoundingly. Ranjan purchased a Maruti, so the starting value for the van is 1,96,000 and the rate of depreciation is 14 2 by 7% per annum. Find the value of van after 2 years. So first I'll calculate it manually. So for 1,96,000, when we'll find according to this rate, we can change this into 14 into 7 is 98 plus 2 is 100 upon 7, 100 upon 7%. So for the first year, after the first year, what will be the, how much value will be depreciated? 1 lakh 100 upon 7% of 1,96,000, which will give us 1,96,000 divided by 7, which will give us 28,000. So after the first year, the value of the car will be reduced by 28,000. So what will be the value of car? 1,96,000 minus 28,000, 1,68,000, 1,68,000, and we have to find it for 2 years. So again, the same depreciation of 100 upon 7%, 1,68,000. So again, it will reduce by 24,000, 24,000. So now new value of the car will be 1,68,000 minus 24,000, 1,44,000. Yeah. So it's just like in when we were solving the compound interest, we were adding the interest every year after every year. But here, whatever is the interest we are getting, that is the depreciated value. So we are reducing it. First it was 1,96,000, then after first year it got reduced by 28,000, so now it is 1,68,000, and another year goes by, it is now reduced by 24,000, so that will be 1,68,000 minus 24,000, which gives us 1,44,000. Question number 18. At what percentage per annum will 1,000 amount to this in 3 years, compound interest being reckoned? You can just directly use the formula. This is the principal. We have to find this R in 3 years. So 172800 divided by 10,000 will give us 1.7820 equals to 1 plus R upon 100 to the power 3. We have to find the cube root of this. So the cube root of 1.7280 will be 1.2. 1.2 equals to 1 plus R upon 100, because 12 cube equals to 1728. So that's why it will be 1.2. So we can reduce 1 from here. 0.2 equals to R upon 100. So R equals to 20%. So yeah, the next question is, Vinay deposited 8,000 in ICICI Bank, which pays him 12% interest per annum quarterly. Quarterly means, so let's see, this is 1 year. 1 year has 12 months. And what is a quarter? If you see a circle, a quarter is this part, right? And what is this part? This is 1/4. So quarter means 1/4. So quarter of a year will be 12 upon 4, that is 3 months. So the interest is being calculated every 3 months. So we want for 15 months. So how many times it will be calculated? First 3 months, another 3 months, then 3 months, then 3 months, and then 3 months. So this is 5 times, right? So now we can see, and yeah, the rate of interest, this is 12% per annum. So for quarterly, that will be 12 upon 4, that is 3% per annum, 3% quarterly. So now if we start our calculation with 8,000, we give 3% interest, we get 240 for the first year, and then 8240 into again 0.03, we get 240 into 8240 into 0.03, we get 247.2, and 247.2 will get added on this 8240. So this will be 848.7, 848.7.2 into again 0.03, which will give us 254.616, which will again get added to 8487 plus 8487.2, 8741.816, 8741.8. This will again will get calculated on 3%, which will give us 262.25, 62.25, which will again get added into 8741.8, 8741.8, which will give us 9004.05 into again. So this was for the first year, this was for the second year, this was for the third year, this is fourth year, and now we are not year like first time for the first 3 months, then next 3 months, then again 3 months, then again 3 months, then 3 months. So this total will be a time period of 15 months. So this will give an interest of 270.12, and this will get added, so that is 9270.12, 9274. This is the closest answer, option number A. What is the rate of simple interest? What is the rate of simple interest for the first 4 years if the sum of 360 becomes 549 years and the rate of interest for the last 5 is okay? We have to find the rate of simple interest for the first 4 years. Let's say the rate is R%. So these are the first 4 years, first year, second year, third year, and fourth year. Here the rate was R, time is 4, sum of 360, and from here last 5 years, that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here the rate is 6%, time is 5 years, principal is still same, and this total will give us an amount of 540. So we can just subtract it. 540 minus 360, amount minus principal, will give us the interest. 540 minus 360 will give us 180 rupees. So 180 rupees. So first for the first 4 years, what will be the interest? 360 into R into 4 upon 100, plus for the next 5 years the interest is 6% to 5. Make sure this is years and not months. Yeah, this is years. This will get cancelled, this will get cancelled. 2 times 3, 2 times 5, and we can just solve it. 36 into 2, 72 r upon 5 plus 36 into 3, which will give us 108 to 180 minus 108, 72. 72 equals to 72 r upon 5. So r equals to 5%. So next question. Harsh makes a fixed deposit of 20,000 with the Bank of India for a period of 3 years. 3 years. Principal is 20,000. If the rate of interest be 13%, SI means simple interest per annum, charged half yearly. Okay. It is being charged half yearly. What amount will he get after 42 months? Okay. So this 13% is being charged half yearly. If the rate of interest be 13% per annum, be charged half yearly. So that just means in this case we can take 13% simple interest compounded half yearly. So the rate is per annum, so for half year it will be 6.5% half yearly, and the deposit is for 3 years, and he want after 42 months, that is 3.5 years. So for 42 months, that is 42 divided by 6, 7, that is after 7.5 years, 7.5 years, we want that. So the interest will be 20,000 into 6.5 into 7 upon 100, 200 into 6.5 into 7, 9,100. So amount is principal plus interest 29,100. Yeah. Next question. Ranjit makes a deposit of 50,000 in Punjab National Bank for a period of 2.5 years. If the rate of interest is 12% per annum compounded half yearly, find the maturity value of the money deposited by him. Okay, so he deposited 50,000 rupees. So our principal is 50,000 rupees for a period of 2.5 years. If the rate of interest is per annum compounded half yearly, rate is 12% per annum, but it is compounded half yearly, so we'll take 6% half yearly. we want to find the maturity value, and this is for 2.5 years, that is 24 plus 6 months, that is 28 months, right? So 28 months will give us, for half yearly we'll get 5 by 2 by 4, 6% increase, 2, okay, 12 into 2, 24. Oh, 24 plus 6 is not 28, it is 30. 30. So we want to find for total 30 months, and how many half year are there in 30 months? 5 half years. So we have to find the compound interest for 5 times at 6% half year rate. So 50,000 with 6% increase, we'll get 50,000. Don't write it like this. 0.06, we'll get 3,000 rupees. So this will be 53,000 into 0.06, 3,180. So this will be 56,180 into 0.06, 3,370.8. This will again add 256, 59,500, 50 into gives us 3573.04 plus 59550, 63,123.8. And this is for first 6 years, this is for second 6 years, this is for third 6 years, this is for 4 6 years, but we want 5 6 months. So again we'll do this 3787, we'll add that 4263123.8, we get 66911, 66911.23. So this is after 5 half years, 66911.27. Yeah. Vinod makes a deposit of 1 lakh in syndicate bank for a period of 2 years. If the rate of interest is 12% per annum compounded half yearly, so rate of interest will get 6%. What will be the amount he get after 2 years? Total time is 2 years, that is 12 months. So if we will get it for half years, how many half years are there in 12 months? Oh, this is 24. How many half years are there? 24 upon 6. 4 half years. The principal amount was 1 lakh, right? We have all the information. So for a sum of 1 lakh for a rate of 6%, we'll be getting 6,000 rupees. So 1 lakh 6,000 for another 6%, we'll get 1060. So 107060 into another 6%. Oh, I did wrong here. 10670. This will be 6360. 6360. 6360 plus 106000 112360. 12 into 6% again, 6741.6. Again we'll add that back. 112 119,101.6 into 6 7146.096. So this is for first half year, second half year, third half year, and we want again for fourth half year. That will be 119,101.6. That will be 126247. 126247. 126247. Yeah, option number C. Here you can see that. Next question, 24. What will be the simple interest on 700 at 9% per annum for a period from February February 5, 1994 to April 18, 1994. So the year is same, but month is different. February, March, April. So from February 5 to April 5, that will be 3 months. And from April 5 to April 18, 1994, 1994, and 1994 is, and 1994 is not a leap year. 1994 is not a leap year. If it was a leap year, then we would add one more day, because then it would include 29 February also. But as it is not a leap year, because 1994 is not divisible by 4. So from April 15 to April 5 to April 18, we have how many uh, days? 13 days. So 3 months, that is February, 28 days, plus February, March, 31 days, then February, March, no, wait, March is completely there, but on February, out of 28, 5 days are already gone, so only 23 days left. 23 plus 31 from March, this is from Feb, this is from March, February, March, and then 18 April. So that is 23 plus 31 plus 18. That is 72 days. And we'll also include 5 February, so this will be 24. So this will be 73 days. So 73 days equals to 73 upon 365. Again, if 1994 would be a leap year, then we would be doing 366, not 365. 73 upon 365, this is 0.2 year. So we got the time period as 0.2 years, and we can just now put the what will be simple interest. Principal is 700, 9% per annum. So interest is 700, 9% per annum for 0.2 years. We are not changing the rate of interest because we are now just calculating it per year because we converted those months into years. That's why 7 into 963, 63 into zero point 0.2, which will give us 62, 12.6. Okay. Ajay borrows 1500 from two money lenders. He pays interest at rate 12% per annum for one loan. Okay, so there are two money lenders. So maybe he's borrowing 1500 from each, or maybe he's borrowing in total 1500, but we don't know how much from one he is borrowing. Let's see. He pays the interest at 12% per annum for one loan, and for the other, the rate of interest was 14% per annum. The total interest he pays for the entire year, total interest is 186. Okay. How much does he borrow at the rate? Okay, so let's say he borrowed X here. So how much will he borrow from here? 1500 minus X. We can just find the rate of interest here because and he borrows it for how many years? For an entire year. So time is 1, principal is X. So interest 1 equals to X into 12 upon 100 to 1, 12x upon 100. Interest 2 equals to 1500 minus X into 14 upon 100 into 1. So I1 plus I2 we are given 186, 186. So 12x upon 100 plus 1500 into 14. 1500 into 14 will give us 210, 21000 minus 14x on 100 equals to 186. We can take the LCM. 14 minus 12 will give us minus 2x. This 100 we can take to the other side. 18600, 2x equals to 21000 minus 18600. 21000 minus 18600 is 2400. So x equals to 2400 upon 2, which is 1200. How much does he borrows at 12%? 12% we assumed was x, and x has come to be 1200. So answer is 1200. One silly mistake some people while solving the question can do, they will assume x to be this one here. Where is my laser? They will assume x to be this, and they'll find the value of x, and they will get the correct value of x, but in the question they are asked for the 12%, and just in a hurry they'll mark that answer, and yeah, they'll get the wrong answer because 300 also is in the option. So yeah, just be careful, because even after solving, if using silly with the silly mistakes we get wrong answer, it's not a good thing. You will lose good marks for that. A sum was invested at a simple interest at a certain interest for 2 years. Time is 2 years. It would have fetched 60 more had it been invested at 2% higher. So let's say some rate it was invested at 6R%, and if it would be on R plus 2%, the interest would be 60 more. If the interest was initially I can write it here. If at R% we get an interest of I, then at R plus 2% we would get interest of I plus 60. What was the sum? Okay, not a big deal. Let's say the sum was X. Hmm. Let's say the sum was X. So for R% for 2 years, I will be X R into 2 upon 100, and for I plus 60 the sum is still the same. Rate of interest is R plus 2 for again 2 years, 100. Now we can put the value of I equals to this in the equation. So X R 2 upon 100 equals, no, plus 60 equals X R 2 plus X 4 upon 100. We can break this We can write this as upon 100 and upon 100. This will get cancelled completely. We will get 60 equals to x4 upon 100, 20, not 20, 25, sorry. So x equals to 60 into 25, which is 125, 150, 50, 1500, 1500, right? The difference between simple and compound interest on a sum of money at 5% per annum is 25. Difference between simple interest and compound interest at a rate 5% per annum at some sum, let's say 100, is that for how many years? We are not given how many years it is, so we cannot find it actually. Yeah, we don't know how many years, what is the time for 2 years, for 1 year, for 3 years, so we cannot find it. Data insufficient. So in this question we are having a sum of money is borrowed and paid back in two annual installments of 822. So what does an installment means? Installment is the amount you have to pay, that is the principal plus the interest on the amount which is left. Let's take an example. If you borrow 100 rupees at, let's say, 5% compound interest, and we and then you are like, you take 100 rupees from a friend, and your friend says ki, okay, you can return me this 100 rupees within 2 years with two installments of 5% with the 5% interest. So for the first time when I'll pay 100 rupees back, I won't be paying 100 rupees directly back. Let's say I paid him 50 rupees for the first time. How much money is left? 50 rupees are still left. So I'll be adding that 5% on the left amount, 5 upon 2. So I'll be paying 50 plus 5 upon 2. So this 882 thing that we are given, that is the principal amount plus the interest on the left amount. It's just like the bank, the friend you borrowed it, it's charging you interest, meaning if you borrow the money you have to give a little extra back as a thank you to your friend. Maybe every year he will charge you 5% extra on what is left unpaid, right? So the formula for the amount in compound interest was 1 plus r upon 100 to the power n. For the, so we can just rearrange this formula. We can get principal equals to amount upon 1 plus r upon 100 to the power n. So principal will be, the first installment was of 882 rupees, 882 rupees plus 1 plus 0.05 to the power 1 plus, फिर again the next year again 882 rupees plus 1.05 to the power 2. This is for the first year and this is for the second year. So after solving this, what will we get? 882 882 into 1.05 plus 882 1808.1 upon 1.05 square divided by 1.05 divided by 1640. So can you see, this person only borrowed 1640 rupees, but how much he has to pay? 882 and 882 two times 1764. 1764. He paid 1764 rupees to clear a debt of 1640. Next question. Two equal sums were borrowed at simple interest per annum for 2 years and 3 years respectively. The difference in the interest was 56. The sum borrowed was. A similar type of question. Two equal sum, let's say one sum is 100, another sum is also 100, were borrowed at 8% per annum. 8% per annum. This is for 2 years, this is for 3 years. The difference in the interest. So here what will be the interest? 16 rupees. Here what will be the interest? 24 rupees. What is the difference? 24 minus 16. 8 rupees. So when the difference was 8, our sum was 100. When the difference is 56, our sum will be 100 into 56 upon 8. 700. 700. In what time will the simple interest on this at 9% be same as this? Okay, we can just find that simple interest from here. What will be the interest? 2500 into 10.5 into 4 upon 100. Pretty simple. 25 into 4 is 100 itself. 100 into 10.5 is just 1005. It's coming too much, right? 050. So we have the interest now. Now our principal is 1750. The rate is 9% and we want the time. Three, 5, 1050 into 2 upon 35 into 9. 150, 50, 20 upon 3 years, and that will be 20 upon 3 into 12 months. That is for 80 months. Wow, 80 months. So 80 month is like 72 6 years and 8 months. We got the interest from the second part, and then we equated that interest because we wanted the same interest in a different condition. So we calculated the time from there. Okay, so 30 questions completed. Moving on to the next. In what time will 500 give 50 as the interest at the rate of 5% per annum simple interest? 500 is the principal, 5 is the rate, we want the time upon 100, 50 is the interest we want. 2 n equals to 2 years. Very basic question. Sashikant derives an annual income of 688.25 from 10,000 invested partially at 8% per annum and partly at 5% per annum simple interest. How much of his money is invested? Okay, so yeah, again we are having two kind of investments. Let's say one is investment is for X rupees, another investment is of 10,000 minus X. The total annual income is 688.25. Let's say here it is 5%, here it is 8%, and it is in this is the annual income, so time is 1 year for both. It's exactly like the same question. So interest 1 equals to x into 5 upon 100 and interest 2 10,000 minus x into 8 into 1 upon 100. Interest 1 plus interest 2 equals to 688.25. So we can just add it now. 5x, we can take 100 as the LCM, so this will be 5x plus 80,000 minus 8x equals to 68825. 3x equals to 68825 minus 80,000, that will be 11,175. So x will be 3725. So yeah, we were asked to find the investment on 5% and we assume it to be x, and we got x 3725. So the answer is 3725. That's why I assumed here to be 5% so that I don't have to subtract it with 10,000 again. Just saves a bit of time. If the difference between the simple interest and the compound interest on some principal amount, okay, let's say the principal amount is 100. We cannot use the formula because that formula is for 2 years and we are asked for 3 years. So if the principal is 100, then for simple interest of 3 years for 20%, what will be the amount? What will be the simple interest? 100 into 20% into 3 years upon 100, 60 rupees. Now for the compound interest, you have to compound it. For the first year, 100 into 0.2, 20 rupees. 120 into 0.2, 24 rupees. 144 into 0.2, 28.8, right? So this is for the first year, this is for the second year, and for the third year, what is the amount we got? 172.8. This is the amount after third year. So what is the interest? 72.8, because initially our principal was 100, amount is 172.8. We can just subtract amount minus principal equals to interest. So we got the interest at this, and this is the compound interest. Now this is the simple interest, this is the compound interest. What is the difference between them? 72.8 minus 60, 12.8. Difference is 12.8. And what is the difference we are given? We are given a difference of 48. So when the difference is 12.8, our sum was 100, and the difference is 48, our sum will be 4800 upon 12.8, 375, 375. Raju lent 400 to Ajay for 2 years and 100 to Manoj for 4 years and received together from both 60 as interest. Find the rate of interest, simple interest being calculated. Raju lent, here we'll write for Ajay and here we'll write for Manoj. Raju lent 400 to Ajay, 400 to Ajay for 2 years and 100 to Manoj for 4 years, and the total interest he got was 60. So okay, we are going to assume that the rate of interest for both of them was same, because nothing is given, so we will assume that it is same. So the rate of interest I1 here will be 400 into R into 2 upon 100, 8R, and I2 will be 100 into R into 4 upon 100, 4R. 8R plus 4R equals to 60. R equals to 60 upon 12, 5%. 5%. In what time will 8,000 amount to 40,000 at 4% simple interest? 8,000 amount to this. This is not the interest, this is the amount. So if amount is 40,000 and principal is 8,000, the interest will be 32,000, and interest also equals to P into R into T upon 100. 4,000 upon 4, 1,000. All this was 1 here also. 100. 100 years. What annual payment will discharge a debt of 808 due in 2 years at 2% per annum? What annual payment will discharge a debt of 808 due in 2 years at 2% per annum? Okay, let's say the annual payment is A and the rate of interest is 2%, so it will be 1 plus mm, A into 1.02 equals to plus A. This is for 2 years. Let's say the first year the amount he paid was A rupees. Next year he has to pay 2% more of that amount, and that amount will be 808 into 1.02 square. So from here A equals to 400. You can use the calculator. Find a sum of money. A sum of money becomes 4 times at simple interest in 10. Okay. Sum of money becomes 4 times. So if the sum of money was x, it got 4x. So what is the interest? 3x, amount minus principal. So 3x equals to x into r into 10 upon 100. X cancel. R equals to 30%. A sum of money. Yeah, in this question, some people might mistake this 4x to be directly as the simple interest, but no, this won't be the simple interest because it is given a sum of money becomes 4 times. So the sum was x and it became 4 times after adding the interest, and also this is the amount. So you have the interest will be amount minus principal, that is 3x. A sum of money doubles itself in 5 years. Okay, so again the sum of money is this and it doubles itself in 5 years. In how many year it will become 4 times if the interest is compounded? Okay, so here it is compound interest, so we can just use the formula. The formula was amount equals to principal 1 plus r upon 100 to the power n, right? This was the formula, right? See, this was the formula. Oh, power n, yeah, I wrote it. So 2x equals to x 1 plus, we don't know r, but we know the time. So from here we can see 2 raised to the power 1 by 5 equals to 1 plus r by 100. We want to find the time when it will become 4 times. Okay, so from here we can find the r. 2 raised to the power 5 minus 1 into 100 equals to r. So now again we'll use the formula, but now here our sum will be x and it will become 4 times, and rate of interest will remain same, which we have calculated, and time that we want. So when we will put this in the formula, 4x equals to x 1 plus, instead of r we'll put this thing 100 2 raised to the power 1 by 5 minus 1 upon 100 to the power n. X got cancelled. 4 equals to 100 got cancelled. This 1 got cancelled. So only left thing is 2 raised to the power into n. So here 2 raised to the power 2 equals to 2 raised to the power n upon 5. So 2 equals to n upon 5. Because the base is same, we can equate the power. So n equals to 10 years. 10 years. Next question. A difference between the interest received from two different bank on 400. So the principal is again same, 400 for 2 years. Okay, so the rate is different. Let's say the rate is R1 and R2. So for R1, if we will calculate, is it simple interest? If nothing is given, we will assume it's simple interest. 400 R1 into 2 upon 100 minus 400 R2 into 2 upon 100 equals to 4. So we can take everything common and take it to the other side. R1 minus R2 is equals to 4 into 1 upon 4 into 2. R1 minus R2 is 1 by 2.5%. A sum of money placed at compound interest doubles itself in 3 years. Sum of money, let's say the sum of money is X. Oh my god. The sum of money is X. Doubles itself in 3 years. It is a similar question. So from here we can find the rate. 2x equals to x 1 plus r upon 100 to the power 3. X get cancelled. 2 raised to the power 1 upon 3 minus 1 into 100 equals to r. So this is the rate of interest. And after how many years, if p equals to x, we want amount to be 8 times of that. So 8x equals to x into 1 plus 100 into 2 power 1 upon 3 minus 1 upon 100 power n. We want to find n here. X get cancelled, 100 get cancelled, 1 get cancelled, 2 to the power 3 equals to 2 raised to the power n upon 3. Base is same. We can equate the power n equals to 9 years. Okay. Last line. So the next question is, if the compound interest on a certain sum for 2 years is 21, what could be the simple interest? We are given the compound interest for 2 years. Okay, we can use that formula. Difference of compound interest minus simple interest equals to PR square upon 100. This one. PR square upon 100 square. Okay, PR square upon 100 square. So we are given the compound interest is 21 minus simple interest for 2 years. Mm, mm, PR square upon 100. Mm, we have to assume things here. If we take the principal as 100, we can just assume principal is 100, rate let's say 10%. So we can put in the value here 100 into, no, not here. For 2 years principal and the compound interest, and usually for 2 years, like for such a small period, the principal interest, the compound interest is almost equal to the simple interest. So from seeing the options you can just tick 20 here, but to solve it we have to just put values of P and R specifically. It's like just try and error. Divide 6000 into two parts, so there's a simple interest in the first part may be equal to the simple interest in the second part. Okay, let's say we divide 6000 into x and 600 minus x. So for x we get the simple interest x into 6 into 2 upon 100, and that should be equal to 6000 minus x into 8 into 3 upon 100. 100 gets cancelled. 4, 2, 2, x equals to 12,000 minus 2x. 3x equals to 12,000. X equals to 4,000. So if x is 4,000, the other part will be 2,000. Divide 3903 between Amar and Akbar such that Amar shares at the end of 7 years is equal to Akbar share at the end of. Again, similar question. We can say Amar is x and Akbar will be 3903 minus x. So such that Amar share is at 4% at the end of 7 years. equals to 3 minus x into 4% into 9 upon 100. 7x plus 9x equals to 7 to 1 27 35. 9 plus 7 is 15x equals to 35127. 35127 divided by 15 will directly be 24341. 2341.8. Okay, so wait, I think I would become, oh, this is compound interest. This is not simple interest. Okay, okay, so this is wrong. But still we can solve it using the compound interest formula. We can say Amar was x and Akbar was 3903 minus x. So for at the end both amount should be equal, so amount for Amar will be x into 1 plus 4 upon 100 to the power 7 equals to 3903 minus x into 1 plus 4 upon 100 to the power 9. This thing will cancel two powers, only two powers will be left here, and yeah, so we can take x this side and bring this one this side. So this is 0.04, so 1.04 to the power square equals to 3903 upon x minus 1. So 1 upon 1.04 is 0.92. 0.92 plus 1, this is 0.92 plus 1 in it, 1.92. So x equals to 3903 upon 2032. 2032 option is pretty close. A sum of money becomes 7 by 4 of itself in 6 years at a certain simple rate and the rate of interest. So if the sum was x, it became 7 upon 4x. So the interest is 7 upon 4x minus x, 3x upon 4. 3x upon 4 equals to x into r into 6 upon 100, 25 to r equals to 12.5. Sanjay borrowed 900 at 4% per annum and 1100 at 5% per annum. 900 at 4% per annum, 1100 at 5% per annum for the same duration. He had to pay 364. Total interest is 364. What is the period? Nothing is given about interest, so let's just assume simple interest. 900 into 4 into n upon 100 plus 1100 into 5 into n upon 100 equals to 364. We can cancel this, this, and we'll get 36n plus 55n equals 364. 36 plus 55 is 91n. 91 equals to 4 years. If the difference between compound and simple interest on a certain sum of money for 3 years is 2%, is 604. That if the sum is, let's say the sum is 100. So if the sum is 100 for 3 years for 2%, the simple interest will be 100 into 3 into 2 upon 100, 6, and compound interest will be amount equals to p into 1 plus 2%, right? P into 2 upon 100 for 3 year, 100 into 1.02 cube, 106.128. So the compound interest will be 6.128. So that this is simple interest, this is compound interest. The difference is 0.128. So when the difference was 0.128, our sum was 100. When the difference is 604, our sum will be 100 into 604 upon 0.128. 100 into 604, 471,875. None of these. If a certain sum of money becomes double at simple interest in 12 years, if a certain sum of money becomes double at simple interest, sum was x, it became double in 12 years. What would be the rate of interest? If amount is this, principal is this, the interest will be 2x minus x, which will be equal to x. Interest equals to principal into rate, which we want to find, into 12 years upon 100. So rate equals to 100 upon 12. 8.33. Three-person Umar Akbar Anthony invested different amounts in a fixed deposit scheme for 1 year at the rate of 12% and earned a total interest of 32. Total interest is 3240. The rate is 12%. Time is 1 year. If amount invested by Akbar is 5,000 more than the amount invested by Amar, so Akbar is equals to Amar plus 5,000, and the amount invested by Anthony is 2,000. 2,000 more than the amount invested by Anthony is 2,000 more than Akbar. What is the amount invested by Akbar? Let's say the amount of Akbar is X. If Akbar is X, then Amar will be X minus 5,000 and Anthony will be X plus 2,000. So here we just have to find the total interest now, and it is simple interest nothing is given, so yeah, maybe simple interest only. So for Amar, simple interest will be X minus 5,000 into rate of interest is fixed for everyone 12%, time is 1 year upon 100 plus X plus 2,000 into 12% into 1 upon 100 plus X into 12 into 1 upon 100, and the total interest is given 3240. So we just solve this and we will get 12x minus 60,000 plus 12x plus 24,000 plus 12x equals to 3240. 36x equals to 324000 minus 24,000 plus 60,000, 3,60,000. So x equals to 1,000. 10,000. One more zero is there. 10,000. Yeah. 49. A sum of 600 amounts to 720 in 4 years at simple interest. What will it amount to if the rate of interest is increased by 720? Some amounts to this, that is the interest is 120 rupees for 600 for 4 years. Rate is R 100 24 10 2 5. Rate is 5%. Initial rate is 5%. Now what will it amount to if the rate is increased by 2%? The rate was 5%. So now new rate is 5 plus 5 into 0.2, 5 into 1.02, 5 into, that is 5.1%. New interest will be 600 into 5.1 into time was 4 years upon 100, 5.1 into 24, 122.4. So amount will be 600 plus 122.4, 722.4, 726. Or maybe increase by 2% means first it was 5% and then it is increased by 2% more. So now the interest is 7%. So instead of taking 5.1, we will be taking 7% and we'll be calculating it with 7% rather than 5.1%. So the answer will something else. So just do it yourself. The last question. What is the amount of equal installment if a sum of 1428 due 2 years has to be completed in two equal annual installments starting next year? If not, we are not given the rate of interest. Rate of interest is not there. Without the interest, we cannot find it. So yeah, the theory of interest and the 50 questions, they are now complete. In the next video, we'll see level of difficulty 2. So yeah, thank you.